Well, guys, this is Rick Moore, and we're excited about talking about something new and different, and we feel like it's disruptive. And I think that you're going to love what you hear. We're also excited about Chris Benson, who's the Director of Training. And what we're going to hear today is kind of get a glimpse of really how this is going to work and what the very near future is going to be like for all of us here on the phone with this opportunity with Wave It. And so, Chris, if I could pass it to you, kind of share us a story and give us some direction.
The Wave It program is how things are going to be done over the next several years. You're at the front end of this. You literally are at the front end. You get to be those people that say, I was around at the beginning when they were doing this program. Wave It is called a cash discount program. Wave It is simply this. All of our merchants that come on board are able to state and utilize the very simple verbiage that says all of our products are currently priced at a cash discounted price, so that everything you see is priced for cash. If you choose not to use cash, you are not going to get the discount. And so here's the process. The consumer comes to the register, the point of sale, or online they're going to come to the shopping cart. And there's a statement that is made available at the entrance of a website or the entrance of a building and at the point of sale or the shopping cart that states those very things, that everything's cash price. Should you use anything but cash, you don't get the discount, and the discount is added at that point of sale. So if I come up to a $25 meal, there's going to be the discounted difference added to that price. So my ticket's going to read $25 plus a standard adjustment, which is the difference between the cash price that was discounted and the non-discounted price. And so my total is going to be $27, $26 X. Please don't hold me to the math. In that scenario, I'm using my credit card because I choose to. And that's why the program is working for the merchant 100% of the time, and it's working for the consumer because most of us that have credit cards are using cards that allow or have points rewards. They have cash back. They have all the different reward points, and the rewards that I get on my credit cards for all the traveling that I do allows me to get a bunch of free stuff throughout the year. Companies that stopped taking American Express because it was too expensive, you get to come back in and tell them it's going to be the same as Visa and MasterCard, and you get to show them this program. Companies that stopped taking credit cards altogether, completely just stopped because they were tired of paying the fees, are prime candidates for you to be able to come in and show them how they can do that. So the restaurant itself was set up for cash only. And this place was packed. There were probably $250,000 to $300,000 a month. Mom and pop, little, hole in the wall, great food, but packed on a Saturday morning. Got up to the register, saw the cash only sign, and I asked the woman this: if I could show you a way that you could virtually take credit cards and pay pennies on the dollar, would you be interested? And before she could answer, 5 or 6 people in the line behind me said, I would. Tell her how to do it. Handed her my business card. We spoke today. She's going to be part of the family. You start the question out by asking, are you taking credit cards for your business? 99% of the time you're going to get a yes. If I could show you a way to take those credit cards for a flat monthly fee, or literally take all the processing you want for $99.95 a month, would you be interested? I've been doing this since its inception, and I've never gotten a no. And so the program has shown all of our merchants tremendous savings, incredible profitability, increased profitability. It shows them that it's okay to take credit cards, and it's okay to actually make money and not have to pay all of those fees. So they're not negotiating anymore. They can actually concentrate on their own business. No more confusing statement fees. They get to actually look at a statement fee that has a set flat dollar amount that they know is going to cost them the same every month. And what's exciting about that is that allows them to budget. It allows them to be able to set up staffing because they know exactly what their costs are going to be for everything across the board. So that being said, this is an exciting time. It truly is. You are going to impact and you are going to be able to affect positively the bottom line for every merchant that you deal with, every single one. You get to help them take those fees and put them back into their pockets. A gentleman I had yesterday said he was so happy that I was able to make his mortgage payment and his car payment with the savings that I brought to his little restaurant. Exciting stuff. And it's not just restaurants. I know I've said it several times, restaurants. But the process for this and the people that it touches, convenience stores, storage centers, medical centers, doctor offices, dentist office, new and used auto sales, been tremendous in the auto sales industry, airport parking garages, nail salons, hair salons, barbershops. The list is literally unlimited.
We have got just a brilliant product that we're rolling out. If you hear me say this a few times, waive it. That's what we're going to bring to our merchants and our partners, being able to waive it away. That is the processing fees that so drastically and dramatically hit the bottom line of our clients and our merchants. So you're going to have an advantage as a group being able to offer products that you're not selling. You're a consultant to bring savings to every single one of your clients, merchants, and prospects. So it's exciting. Waive It is a cash discount program. Waive It is not a surcharge, but Waive It is a cash discount program. So new business owners have been waiting for this, and I've been waiting for this in the industry for a long time. And the program was designed specifically for business owners and so that they can avoid the high cost of credit card fees. And they just keep going up, going out to our merchants. So this is a very timely product. It allows us to offer a fixed monthly cost for unlimited credit card processing. And until recently, most merchants weren't able to do that. They had to bear the entire cost. And if they were fortunate to be in a state that offered surcharging, they saw that as a negative connotation. When we presented in a surcharge state the cash discount program, they saw that as an absolute positive. And so because of the changes in the card networking rules, and I'll cover that here in a minute, merchants now have the option of charging a different price for cash versus credit cards. And in a lot of states, they've been doing it, but a surcharge program requires a licensing, and it requires a sign-off by Visa and MasterCard. And this program has already been signed off in every state but one. And I'll check back. I'll cover that with you here in just a minute. So we've developed technology that enables the merchant to make the choice. If they offer all of the prices, whether it's in their retail outlet or online, if they offer and make sure that they are using our verbiage, our language, and our signage, stating that the products in their market, in their area, is already priced at a cash discount, our technology enables us to add a fee, which is the difference between the cash price and the credit card price, immediately to at the checkout, at the point of checkout, which allows us to take away all of the fees associated with credit card processing. There are some licensing fees, and I'll go through that. There are some fees involved with that includes the terminals, but the credit card processing fee becomes zero. And the takeaway in that has been, and the response has been incredible. So the waiver program allows unlimited processing for a single flat monthly fee. All the merchant has to do is utilize our signage and our verbiage that states that all of the advertised prices are already at a cash discount. So the consumer has that option to pay the cash, receive the discount. If they choose to pay with credit cards, the difference between the credit card price and the credit price, the cash price and credit price, is then added as a standard adjustment to the total price at the checkout. And that literally is the cash discount program. The important part of the program also includes e-commerce. So if we have a merchant or a partner that wants to do a e-commerce version of Waive It, it truly is very simple. We have to offer the discount to the consumer on all of their items across the board for cash. So that's posted on the e-commerce site. We have to declare that, and then you have to be able to follow up with that. So how does the consumer purchase from the website or even a mobile device with, quote, cash. So it literally is very simple. The merchant offers the ACH or e-check, or they offer mailed-in check as part of their payments. They don't have to offer all of those, but they can offer an ACH or an e-check product that we handle, and that becomes the, quote, cash product. The alternative, is, again, then would be credit. If they're going to use their credit at the checkout or the shopping cart, we place that same verbiage, we place it in the T's and C's, or we have our merchant partners place it in the T's and C's on the website so the customer is informed. We have them place the cash discount notification on their web pages. We place the cash discount or have them place the verbiage in their shopping cart. So at the point of checkout, they have an option. They choose the cash discount, takes them to a screen that allows them to do ACH, or they choose not to do that. The shopping cart takes them to a place where they're able to do and add all of their credit card information in. The difference between the cash and the credit card, which is the standard adjustment, is then added to the total, and they're ready to check out, and they're good to go. The benefits of Wave It, literally for the merchant, cost-free, 0% fees. That means that they're not paying any credit card fees moving forward for processing those credit cards. It's unlimited credit card processing. You can accept all the major credit cards, which leads to tremendous savings. And I'm going to share a little bit of a small convenience store savings. They can use that money to grow their business. It's going to automatically and dramatically increase their bottom lines and savings. No more confusing statements to decode. If any of you have ever been or owned a business and have tried to decode a credit card statement, you need some kind of a forensic degree to do that, or you've got to be in the business for a long time to see the hidden fees. The benefits of Wave It is that eliminates those. No more negotiating fees, 0 is 0. So it's very difficult for somebody to come in and offer a better rate. First of all, you don't have a rate. You're not charging any fees associated to processing the credit cards. And so now they can concentrate on their business rather than every fifth customer coming in as another sales rep selling credit card processing. So basically what are they going to do? They're going to wave it all away. So let me share real quickly just a sample savings with a true merchant who is processing $57,000, roughly $58,000 a month in credit card processing. It was a small convenience store. His credit card fees were $1,450 roughly. His total cost, so a year, $17,400. With CapEx, with the Wave It program, same processing amount, $58,000. The monthly maintenance fee, $39.95, which covers all of the monthly maintenance on their file and in their file for the processing. It includes PCI compliance and insurance. And then the licensing fee for the Wave It product, which is $60. So the total fee to this merchant was $99.95, or a savings of about $1,200 a month, $16,000 a year, or 96%. So it's very simple to sit down with a merchant of any type or any size, taking two pieces of information, what their volume is and what their credit card fees are. Don't need to know what all the individual card fees are. What did you pay this month for your credit card fees? What was your credit card transaction? And I have a document that you all get that will enable you to put those two pieces of information into a document right in front, whether you're using a phone or a tablet or you're on the phone. You can plug that information in and immediately tell them what their savings is going to be and show that to them. And so it becomes literally almost a no-brainer.
One of the things that I've found over the last couple of months has been the question, is this going to cause me to lose customers? Is this going to cause pushback? And so I have done the analysis over 18 months in a previous iteration of this with merchants that do $50,000 a month and several that are over $5, $10, $20 million. Their concern was, what kind of pushback are we going to get? And the statistics have proven out that merchants that have customers that push back or that have left is 0.15%. And in that scenario, we were not able to determine how much was just pushback or how much of those actually left. But 0.15 is virtually a blip on the radar. One of my clients that we did this process for, very large, but they would need to lose 19,000. And let me say it again, 19,000 customers per month to break even on the savings that we are bringing them. In several situations, several locations, I've advised the merchant to put a roll of quarters in his register, explain to the customer that it has an issue, that this has hit the merchant's way of not having to raise prices across the board, but has allowed him to offer the cash discounts for those people, the majority, they're coming in paying with cash. If that really truly bothers you, here is your 50 cents back. And everybody that has done that has still got their roll of quarters back because the customers understood that. One of them was a hotel where what they did was, to the customer, the consumer, the person that complained, was gave them free Wi-Fi, gave them free internet in the room, and they were just dazzled, happy little campers because they got something for free. So they paid an additional $3, $3.50, I think it was, for the room. They got free internet. They would probably get free internet anyways, but it was just a way to offset that.
What I have found over the last 18 months, 3 specific types. Need-based businesses. A customer has a need, a veterinary store, storage, doctor's offices, parking, it goes on. But those are need-based. I need to do this, I need to park my car, I need to go to the doctor, I need. Convenience, number 2, convenience-type businesses. People that go to business because it's convenient for them, hence convenience store. It's close by. It's easy to get to. And then the third one is businesses that have a loyal base. They go there because they always have or because they're loyal to that particular brand. Online web retail sales, storage centers, restaurants, recurring billings, and that can be phone, energy, barbershops, medical centers, medical practices, dentist offices, cigar stores, smoke shops, new and used auto sales, airport parking, RV rentals, car rentals, independent taxi drivers, Uber, cab drivers. I'm working with an extremely large one right now that's 7,500 drivers immediately that are going to do this along with our pay card. Dry cleaners, parking garages, boat storage in harbors. So, I mean, that's just a handful. I don't know of any that really won't or can't use it. So your customers are going to ask, can my business offer the cash discount program? And the answer is yes, or the answer is absolutely, because this is not a surcharge or an added convenience fee. We're not penalizing anybody. We're offering the options of getting that cash discount and or choosing not to, so they always have a choice. If they choose not to, for whatever reason, their credit cards are points, rewards, travel. They want those particular additional items that they get with the use of their credit card. So the law behind this literally goes back to the text from the Durbin Amendment. And you will all have access to this, and we'll make sure that you have access to this. But the Durbin Amendment states that the government cannot inhibit the ability of any person, private or public, to provide a discount or in-kind incentivized payment by the use of cash or check or debit card. They can't do that. So these discounts and incentives can be offered, and they can, and legally and lawfully, we can use this in place of that surcharge programs in every state, except one, and I guess I should touch on that now, which is Connecticut. So I apologize for the state of Connecticut. Paul and I were involved in the initial issue with that almost 18 months ago. The state attorney general agrees with us that the program does work, that it is lawful, just not lawful in the state of Connecticut. And they're going to fight any issues with this product in Connecticut. So until they change their minds, we're just going to stay away from Connecticut, or until we have a big enough merchant that they can help move the state attorney general to continue to recognize the truth, that this is legal and lawful, and that they're going to accept the laws as they are stated. The second question that usually comes up in this is Visa and MasterCard Discover and American Express, are they okay with this product? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. And we have Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and Amex's rules, policy guides, and the explanation behind the use of the card. So, for example, Visa's core rule in Visa product regulations and services states, quote, merchants may attempt to steer customers who initially present a Visa card to an alternative method of payment such as pay by discount for cash. MasterCard says pretty much the same thing. Discover says the same thing, and so does American Express. And I have personally dealt with them at the ETA and dealt with them from the processor's perspective. They're concerned, are we getting our payment? Do we get our money in this? Absolutely you do. You get paid just like it was any other program. So not had an issue in 18 months where I have seen that in some surcharge programs simply because the merchant, not the customer, not the processor, but the merchants have chosen to add their own fees and increase the fees through the surcharge and have drawn attention to themselves. In our case and in our situation, it just hasn't happened. Mobile processing, absolutely. Most of you have seen the small card swipe on a phone or an iPad or an Android tablet. Wave It is offered on that as well. So your taxi drivers or those that work out in the fair or sidewalk sales, street sales, they're going to be able to use this product with it and again, save a boatload of money. So the merchant cost breakdown, and you heard me say this a moment ago, the licensing fee is $60. The monthly maintenance fee breaks down to $30, and the PCI compliance is $9.95. So the total monthly fee for merchant A is $99.95. Well, Chris, what happens if they need to have multiple terminals in the store or in their location? The licensing fee is $30 per terminal. So if there's an additional terminal, it's $99.95 plus $30. If it's a point of sale terminal, it's included. If it's a virtual terminal, it's included in the pricing. So there's not an additional amount to license for a virtual terminal in a dentist office that needs to have 3 logins. That's covered in that process already. If it's a card swipe and they need multiples, it's $15 per month. Shipping costs are included. That was a question that came up a lot. So in our program, the shipping cost is included, unless the ISO or the agent requires an overnight shipping, in which case they will be charged $50 per licensed terminal to ship the terminal out. The most asked questions by merchants has been, I've never heard of this before, is it new? And the reply to that is, actually, no, it's not. It's been around for quite some time, and I mean years, if not decades, with originally starting in gas stations that were advertising the cash price and the fuel price. Do I have to calculate this charge? The reply is no. The terminal and the software or the virtual terminal will automatically do that for you. The merchants ask, do I need to tell my customer up front that they're going to be charged? Yes and no. You don't have to verbally tell them, but you do have to post signage that you are a cash discount store. And of course, we give the merchant a laminated sign. It's about 8.5 by 11 that they can post at any of their POS systems or at any of their checkouts. I usually suggest they post it at the front door as well. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful design. I think when you get the package, you'll see and appreciate what the marketing department did with that. Will the customer be charged 2 separate transactions, one for the purchase and then another one for this fee? Well, again, no. So it's rolled into one transaction on one receipt. It does come with a separate line item for the non-discounted standard adjustment. That's going to have an abbreviation STND space ADJ on the receipt, standard adjustment. And again, the difference between the discount and non-discount. Can I take EBT or PIN debit at my retail location with the Wave It terminal? At this point in time, no. EBT is typically a separate terminal, and debit is treated as a signature debit, so it's treated and runs across the Visa MasterCard rail. Another merchant question, do I have to purchase the equipment, or are there other options? So in this case, The terminals are included with that program. It's included with the program.
There is a table-side terminal. It's called the Clover Tableside. This is looks very much like a small tablet with a printer and an EMV and card swipe. So this is going to be the primary terminal that we're really going to look at pushing. It is the hottest thing since, like I said, it's incredible. Nobody else has it. We're going to introduce it at the ETA show in May. We're going to be demoing it there. We'll be demoing it at the office, and we'll make available to the ISO to you. We can't do 6,000 of these, but we're going to make it available to the ISO offices for demos and being able to use that in demo. The exciting thing about this terminal is it's small, it's standalone, and it's EMV certified and capable right now today. Includes its own printer, capture signature. We're at the front end of that technology. So that's another piece of exciting things that are going on.
Big merchant question. Can this program be integrated into my POS or my online processing? Yes, the online processing, again, determined by the type of shopping cart and the software being used online. In most cases, I have found not to be an issue. POS systems, there are hundreds of POS systems out there. There are going to be times that there will be needs for integration. Integration usually on our end is a simple API. On the end of the software developer or the POS system manufacturer, most of the time they're open and willing, but I can't guarantee that's going to be 100%, that everybody's going to work with us. I just had one with a restaurant called Hot Sauce POS. It's a software, and had a great conversation with them yesterday. They're sending me their API so we can connect. They service thousands of restaurants nationwide. And Pablo's been working on that process with several others. I don't want to mention them right now, but they're the top 5 POS systems out there.
We just brought on a couple of car lots, auto dealerships in Orange County or in the LA area that went live, and they're the most recent anyways. They were and are ecstatic about the process, how it's worked for their down payments, how it's worked for their automotive service department, and the ease. And so after their first 3 days, they have had a whopping 0 complaints from anybody in the process. And obviously the dealership owners are extremely happy because they have saved already thousands and thousands of dollars in credit card fees. So when you get rolling with this, you're going to find this is going to be an easy sale along with everything else that you're doing. Nobody in their right mind, I said this on our last phone call, anybody that's alive and breathing that takes credit card processing in their business, I can't see any of them ever saying no. The only thing that would stop them is fear, and we can help them to overcome their fear of loss through the amount of gaining that they'll get with the process. So keep that in mind.
Are there others in my type of business using the service? In most cases, yes. Again, this is not has not been around since credit card got started. It's been desired, but it's not been around that long. So over the last couple of years, we have been able to get into specific marketplaces, and I kind of named those earlier. And then there's going to be some that are going to be brand new into the marketplace. What I've found is, again, 18 years of doing this in enterprise sales mostly, but also with brick and mortar, the savings outweighs the issue that come up. So how long will it take to get started? The application and approval process, and I'm going to be, if Michael's on the phone, he may jump in and say you're wrong, but the approval process will take less than 48 hours. We want to commit to same day, and that's what we believe in most cases this is going to be true. But a lot of that is going to depend on the process and getting all of the necessary documents in, and there's not that many, but sometimes there are some things lagging. The ultimate is to have same day, and I believe we're going to be able to do that for you. Same day approvals, equipment, usually after approval, 3 days to get the equipment out unless it's shipped overnight. Rest assured, U.S. agents will be able to see the progress, the process, and the revenue based on the ISOs, how the ISO has set you up. And the reporting features for the consumer is incredible, but even more so for you as an ISO or an agent to be able to see everything at a glance or everything in detail. I'm very proud of what Michael and his team have done with all of the reporting and the ability to see. Transparency is so important because transparency and integrity are the two most important features, at least in my world, that my merchants and my partners have been looking for and haven't been able to see with most of their processors in the past. I mean, we're just not that way. It's not how we operate. So it's exciting to have that piece all together. So with that being said, I'd like to open up, Rick, if I can, if you guys have some questions about what you've just heard or seen, or questions about things that I didn't cover. Rick?
Yeah, Chris, I mean, that you covered a ton of ground there. All right, I want to check out there. I've got a handful of people on the call here, and has anybody got a specific question for Chris?
Yeah, this is Mario. Can you explain the customer experience? You did well explaining the merchant experience. What's the customer experience?
So, and a good question. So on the customer side of that, and again, I'm in contact with my merchants all the time. The customer experience has been fantastic. The concern was if we do this, we're going to lose customers, or customers are not going to want to make the payment. They're not going to want to take the difference between the two and pay that additional charge. And over the last 18 months, 0.15 have actually seen a loss of business. 0.15 has been the average. Some have been absolutely zero. Others have seen an actual increase in business, but 0.15 is the most, or the average, that we have seen. So in that scenario, and I'll use the convenience store scenario, for him, he thought the same thing. Well, if the guy down the street keeps his prices the same, and they're same as mine, and mine's going to cost 30 more cents or 35 more cents, then I may lose customers. In that scenario, he would have to lose 190 customers every single month over 30 cents just to break even with the savings that we were bringing them. So what he did, and my suggestion was for him to validate what that would look like, was to buy a roll of quarters, toss the roll of quarters in the register, and anybody that complains, let them simply explain this. Instead of raising prices across the board, we have decided to keep everything at a discounted cash price and move into this new process so that we don't have to add an additional price across the board to cover credit cards. And that's our new policy. And I understand it's your first time in the store since we changed. Here's the 35 cents to cover that, or 50 cents to cover that. But the next time, this is our policy. At the end of the month, he had $7.50 left out of that roll of quarters, because the customer understood that they had an option. There's an ATM in the store. They could go and spend $3 for a $20 bill, or 30 cents for the difference. And so he saw, in his particular case, he saw zero loss. I have a company that does online, zero loss. They understood that instead of raising prices across the board, they were simply keeping everything at a cash discount across the board. Were there some that walked away from some of the other clients? Yes. And it's not going to stop. I've had, you can't stop that person that is just not going to do that and looks at it like, well, I don't want to pay that additional dollar for that. Well, it never outweighs the savings that the program brings. Typically, most consumers are pretty savvy, and anybody that's ever traveled anywhere outside the United States, everyone in a modernized society that uses Visa MasterCard charges a fee right up front, and it's usually horrendous. Right now in Costa Rica, it's 9%. The restaurants that I've used, that I have, he used an envelope label and printed that base statement and stuck it on the front page of all of his laminated menus, just so there wouldn't be that question at the register. And I'm not saying that to simplify things, but most people, and we want them to know up front, but most people don't even look at their receipts and pay attention to that. And that's what I've gotten from the restaurants that I've seen over the last 18 months. They say, we've got a couple of people that have questioned it. Well, what is this again? Because they missed the sign at the front door. They missed the sign at the point of register. They missed the notification on the menu. But when you start looking at online web retailers or storage centers, medical centers and practices, doctor's offices, those are some that are just quick, literally no-brainers. Daycare centers. I just met with a gentleman yesterday here in Dallas. It's got 38 daycare centers. They take payment up front, and then they do reoccurring monthly. And he's all over that. It's just not going to be an option. Look, either you're going to pay cash or you're going to take this, but I'm just not going to pay for your flight miles and all of your other points and rewards. I'm just not going to do that anymore. And that goes back to the three basics: convenience, need-based, or loyalty-based. You're just not going to get pushback from those. Parking garages seems to be a hot thing right now. RV rentals.
Chris, Joe Mitiga here from Atlanta. The actual receipt itself.
Yes.
My 10-year-old son just had a birthday party at a local entertainment place. Lady says to me, 10 kids, $19.95 a kid. Now, when I paid my bill after it was all done and the total bill was $244, I looked on the bill after I got home 3 days later, and I saw 7 additional somethings. I didn't look, didn't matter. I paid the bill. None of them, which, by the way, were explained to me up front, which I would have done it anyways. So instead of it being, $19.95, $20 times 10 at $200, it literally was $240 some odd. And they had their multiple charges. This charge right here, when the receipt comes out, if this company was using Wave It, would that line item just literally be part of the other 7 line items? So now there'd be 8?
Yeah, the line item is on the receipt, and the receipt would have standard adjustment, because that goes with the signage that they were provided. That, again, if anybody reads that, it literally states that the cash discount, the difference between the cash discount and the credit card, will be added as a standard adjustment at the point of sale.
I just wondered where it was on the actual receipt itself, which makes all the sense in the world.
You bet.
Okay. This is Hutch again. Maybe I missed it in your presentation, but does this handle debit cards also?
Debit cards are run on the same way as a signature debit. So it runs on the Visa and MasterCard rail. So it's not treated any different than a regular credit card. It's going to be the same fee. Because remember, the pricing is cash discounted. Any payment electronically, so debit card and credit cards, no matter which type it is a payment outside of cash. So they're all subject to the same adjustment.
Cool. Thanks.
That makes sense?
Yes, sir. It does.
Great.
Hey, Chris, this is Monty Bertrand. We've got a nightclub that's doing close to $80,000 in processing fees per year. They've got POS systems, so what's the actual process of what they would need to acquire in terms of equipment to be able to convert? I mean, let's assume it's Aloha, one of the bigger ones.
Right, and that is one of the top 5 that we should have final confirmation this week. Coming up week. Aloha, Adelo, Agilysys, Clover. There's a couple others. So what we would need to know is it's going to ask for POS. So we're going to need to know what the POS is. So the name of the system. So you would say, it's Aloha version 7.1. Mm-hmm. If they're using a side device, some do, some don't, like the PAX 300. Or, we need to know exactly what that is. So let's say there is an integration. Let's say Agilysys, or it's an Agilysys terminal. Or I'll use Hot Sauce because I just did this yesterday. So Hot Sauce can use our backend to our multiple processors. The question was, what other peripheral terminal are we going to need to be able to run the process? Hot Sauce says they're integrated to the PAX 300. Well, we can do that as well. Takes about 10 days. So the answer for them was simply, we're going to get you approved, get you set up, get your merchant identification number, and then certify the packs, ship it out to you, and you're ready to go. That's an easy version. There are some out there that just won't play, and you're going to run into that. I'll quickly do this. So one of the nation's largest shipping services has a closed-loop system, and their franchisees are just beside themselves with credit card fees. So when he made that comment, beside yourself, I just took advantage of that. Then let me put a VX520 or another terminal beside your register. You have a check button on the register, but it doesn't take checks. You don't take checks at all. So the check button is now going to be your credit card button. So when you run your Wave It program or run your cost-free program, run it under that scenario. And that will allow you to check out, and it'll allow us to put our terminal side by side with your current until we can get the parent company to certify, which in their case is about 6 months for that particular POS. But in the meantime, he's going to lose about $7,500 a month in processing fees. So we put the terminal in for that $60 licensing fee, and that's how it's going to work.
Great, thanks.
Oh, you bet. One of the first grocery stores that I put on was in a Hispanic neighborhood with another convenience store or grocery store right down the street from him, about a full block on another corner. His concern was the same thing. What's going to happen to my consumer? If my consumer comes in and they're already have an issue paying, or they're using their credit card, debit cards, and my competitor on the street gets wind of that, then my competitor is going to use that against me to say, well, those guys are it's costing you more down there. In his particular scenario, we were saving him $15,000 a month in his very high volume. So that $15,000, my suggestion to him was, tomorrow morning when you drive past that other grocery store, find out what his big sale item is. And it just so happened to be Budweiser. So he calls me in the morning and says, it's Budweiser. And I said, okay, here's what we're going to do for the roll-up. Here's what I suggest. What is your cost for Budweiser? He told me how much he sold. And I said, take $5,000 out of the $15,000, use that, and put a poster up that you're going to give Budweiser, selling Budweiser for $2.95 a 12-pack, and throw in the 25 cents of beans or rice to every customer who comes in and pays with his debit or credit card. Now, and immediately he jumped 12% his volume that month, because the consumers that were coming in weren't just buying the rice and the beans, or they weren't buying just the Budweiser, they were buying other things. And so now, and he lets me know this on a regular basis, once a month, he just looks at what the other guy's marketing and comes in and cuts it to cost and gives that stuff away at cost. And his customers are happy little campers. They're watching to see what's going to be coming next, and they don't care about that extra 35, 40 cents. He's got an ATM machine in his building, so he can send them over there at $3 and still make money. My point was with him was simply, let me help you to find a way to make this work for you. And so if you're saving $5,000, you can use for marketing, and the other $10,000 goes directly to your bottom line. That's a lot of bottom line, and it's a lot of marketing, and it makes sense to do that. And it's all going this way. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's all going to go this way. It did it in Europe 10, 12 years ago. It's going to go to this type of processing. You're going to see it. You're at the front end. This is what's so exciting about this. In 3 to 5 years, others are going to catch up. But you and I got a head start in an industry to make, use my daughter's term, to make a grip of money, to build up a client base, and to make a lot of your partner merchants greatly appreciate you and what you're doing for them, because you truly are affecting their bottom line in a way that no other process can do, and no other way that they can do that. They just can't. It's just not possible to impact in this way, and it's something that most don't even think about. They just, I got to pay the fee. I got to pay the fee. I got to pay the fee.
In a hospitality environment, you're not just paying on the gross sales. You're paying on the tax and the tip. So bars and nightclubs can be a hot spot, because in reality, they're paying 5%. They're not paying 3.5%. They're paying 5% when you calculate the tax and the tip. So bars and nightclubs, I think there's, from what I understand and from my personal experience, there's a lot less resistance to charges in those places.
You're absolutely right. And again, less resistance to anything that's need-based. So I don't think anybody on the phone would say, if you went to your vet and your pet, whatever, like mine are part of my family. If it's $500 to do something, I could care less. Fix my pet. You need to fix my pet. Parking spots out here in New York can sell on a monthly basis from $800 to $1,200 a month. Well, the owner of that property is paying the tax or paying the credit card fees if the consumer is using a credit card on a monthly basis. That's a chunk of change. Well, reverse that and put it back on the consumer. Where are they going to go to park? I heard there are people waiting 2-3 years to get a parking stall. So that need-based really makes a huge difference, and it becomes literally a no-brainer.
With all that being said, we have added a new merchant processing backend to our software and our gateway. It is the largest processor in the world, First Data. First Data has opened up through this gateway a number of terminals, point-of-sale systems, shopping carts, and gateways online that will allow us to quickly move into the top 10 point-of-sale terminals that are out there. Whether it's hotel or restaurant, we're going to have access through this gateway to bring our Wave It product along with EMV compliance to more merchants than anybody else, even in the surcharge arena. It has knocked the wall down that has divided a lot of the opportunity for integration. This has done that for us. The door is open. You're going to have a wide field of point-of-sale systems and the ability to get into shopping carts and online processing, including a shopping cart called Authorize.net, which is one of the most popular. We have an emulator that emulates the process for Authorize.net, so the merchant won't even know the difference. But the savings, that he's going to recognize, that they're going to see right away, not only for the cost of Authorize.net, but also the cost of processing. So that was exciting. So Rick touched on the process artifact, which is our CRM, and the ability for automating leads so we don't bump into each other, automating the application process. The merchant is going to be able to DocuSign and upload into the actual underwriting portal of Artifact. So they won't have to, and you won't have to send paperwork back and forth. They will be able to upload their identification. They'll be able to upload the statements. They'll be able to upload a check, voided check. They'll be able to do all of that from Artifact. Much easier, much simpler. I just went through that. And so what could take 40 minutes with a paper application to me about 15. Granted, I'm used to doing that, but it'll happen fairly quickly. This will make you happy. Automating the revenue source, revenue stream, and the revenue share. But you as agents are going to be able to see your merchant app, your merchant processing. You're going to be able to see the transparency that comes with a program that we have been able to customize, and we're going to keep customizing. We should be able to roll that out nationwide here in the next week or two at the outside. I was in New York, as Rick said, had the opportunity to go into the system, try to break it. I'm still messing around with some things inside the system, but what I found in all of the other CRMs that I've used, the portals that I've used in the past, this has clarity, and and it's simple to work with. Adding my leads, adding the sources, keeping a general ledger, literally, being able to see all of my revenue at a glance is exciting, and it'll be exciting for you too as you begin to move forward. When we go through this application, the paper apps, it will help you to truly appreciate the Artifact program when you get to do that, and you get to see how automated it is, not only for you, but also for the merchants. So the merchants, once you get them into the portal will send them an email welcoming them as a merchant. It will allow them to finish the underwriting portion, that is to complete the application online, and then submit. Once that's submitted, it goes through underwriting. This is typically a 3-day process. We're streamlining that, and we hope to make that a little bit quicker. What I've been telling everybody is tell your merchants 7 to 10 days for them to get up, operating, and getting their terminals into their buildings so they can process. You will look like a hero when it actually gets done in about 4 or 5 days. But we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. We want to make sure that we're setting the expectations correctly up front. But then they will get a welcome letter when their merchant identification, their merchant account goes live. They'll know through that when the terminals will get there. When the terminals arrive, they'll have a welcome kit. The welcome kit will have signage, laminated signage that they'll need to place in their building, or if it's an e-commerce, the letter that they'll receive will have instructions on how to port their shopping cart or remove their shopping cart and add our gateway to that. It's very simple. Anyone that has set up a merchant account online will be able to do this very simply. If they can't, you are going to have, and they will have access to ISO support, and we'll be able to make sure through the merchant customer service line that they get set up and get running. I just wanted to say this real quick because I'm patting him on the back. He's already done it 100 times to himself. EJ wrote a deal and turned his first deal in yesterday. And he's out doing...
Yeah, he just texted me. He's got another one coming.
Yeah, so. That's what I was just going to say that, Rick. He's got another one coming. And he's hot on it. He's been blowing my phone up. It's funny. He's a happy little camper. He can do the math. So he's already figured out what his revenue stream is going to be on these 2 locations, which is exciting, and we should all be excited.
I would tell everybody on the phone what his goals are, but I don't want to scare anybody.
Well, that's funny. I just had a guy, so everybody hears this, and I don't mind because I'm not going to share his name, but another gentleman who was with me previously is now an agent with us who is pulling over his portfolio, and that's going to take a couple of months. But he just signed one up that is going to pay him his fee after he gets, the revenue share. His portion of the revenue share is going to pay him a little over $6,000 a month. So, and that's one account.
Yeah. I think while we're talking about this, Chris, can you talk about how vast this marketplace is? I mean, how big this industry is?
Yeah. Well, when we start getting into the trillions of dollars that are spent every month in credit cards worldwide, the United States is the biggest source of that. But we're in less than 0.20 of the marketplace. 0.20, not 2%, 0.2. This is so wide open, it's the Wild Wild West.
It's the biggest thing I've ever seen. It's the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I think a lot of the guys on the phone know I don't overstate things.
No, it's not. It's definitely not overstated. I just had another ISO for First Data that heard what we were doing. He's got over 800 accounts. And he did his own math on his 800 accounts. If he flipped them all over to us, his residual income that he currently gets from First Data for these exact same accounts is 7.25%, or 7.25 times the revenue on those 800 accounts.
That's amazing.
Yep.
I mean, it's just staggering things going on out there. And I think everybody on this telephone right now, you've got 2 years of just being wide open and never coming across anybody. Act like you've got 2 weeks.
That's what I would say. I would say exactly the same thing. Charge it. Go after it. I know, charge it. Hey, that wasn't meant as a pun. But really, I mean, it's aggressive. You will find out how amazingly easy this really is. And don't be afraid to ask that question. Mom and pops, it's so simple you're at the dentist and you got to pay. Most of you are going to pay with a credit card. Hey, can I ask you a quick question? Who are you using for your processing? Or if I could show you a way to save 90%, 99% of your credit card processing fees, you think the owner or the doctor would be interested? Open that door. Again, even that person sitting behind the computer that's just taking the payments is going to say, well, I'm sure they would. You're getting... I
had that very thing happen yesterday, Chris, when I was getting a temporary crown put on from a busted tooth on Sunday.
There you go. It really does happen. I'm getting guys that just, I don't know if that's, really, possible. Well, I just go ask the question. Every place you stop today, ask that question and see. And sure enough.
Well, and I'm sure it's kind of this situation, right, where it's everyone's eventually going to do this. So something that I said to my dentist, when I didn't have the drain tube in my mouth was you're going to do this. It's just a matter of when, and when you do it, I want you to, remember us.
Yep. And just and remember, every other modern country in the world is already doing surcharge, the negative portion of this. They're already doing it. The world knows that merchants are sick and tired of paying for fees. And so everybody else has figured this out around the world, that the merchants shouldn't be penalized for people that want to use or have to use credit cards. They just shouldn't. Because they're not starting their business out saying, well, I'm going to sell a bunch of shirts. Oh, I need to mark everything else up 3.5% to 4% just to cover my cost of credit. That's not what they're thinking. They build everything else into that formula, but they're not building that into their formula. And when they look at that bottom line and say, oh, my goodness, it's crazy. And one of the questions I used to ask the school district is, have you ever done a fundraiser of any kind that would put 3.5% to your bottom line? Would you? Anything that you could do? Is there anything that you've done that puts this kind of money back into the school district? And the whole board said, almost unanimously, almost at the same time, no, not even close. Okay? In the old school, I would have said, press hard, the third copy of that contract's yours. Because where else do you go from there? It doesn't make any sense to say no. They've already admitted they need to do it. So now it's the process. So I meet with them tomorrow. It's one of the largest school districts in the state of Texas.
I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you're chopping it up pretty fine. I'm real busy.
It's exciting. It's exciting. If you can't feel that vibe across the phone, I'm not sure what else I can do.
You're sending it through loud and clear.
Thank you so much for being part of this. I'm excited that you are part of it, and I'm excited for you because this, you may have the most fantastic job in the world, but I want to tell you, this is fun, and it is very lucrative. You're going to have a good time.
And I appreciate everybody else on the phone taking time as well. But I want to thank everyone for being on this call, and very exciting. Just the future is very bright for everybody that's listening to this call right now.